What's up YouTube, Webbers5 here, coming at you today with the update to my Magician Pendulum deck profile. I know a lot of you guys have been asking for it for quite a while. I know I told you guys I wanted to do this after we got the new ban list, but thinking about it recently, I just had another tournament, I went XO with this deck again. Like I said, you guys have really been asking for it. I've made quite a few changes to it since last time, and frankly, with the upcoming ban list, also, we just got the OCG one today. I've just seen today that OCG just got a bunch of the good Pendulum support back. I really don't think this deck's going to get hit in the ban list. If anything, it's just going to get better. So, why not? Let's go for my deck profile now. Alright, hope you guys like it. Okay, so kicking off the deck profile with 3 copies of Astrograph Sorcerer. I was playing this at 2, I was about last month. I cranked it up to 3 because I found it a lot more useful. Plus, it's just a way to get additional monsters on board, excluding the Pendulum summon, which I'm finding is more crucial in this format, because with this deck, I want to have as many monsters on board as I can, because it's a Pendulum deck, which is what Pendulums do. You want to have a lot of monsters on board, and Astrograph is just so good for that. Plus, there's so many different ways I can summon Astrograph to my field, and at different times. So I just pumped him up to 3 for additional damage, and to extend my plays a lot more. Next, I pumped this monster up as well. I'm now playing 3 Performer Power Skull. Acrobat Jokers. I talked this over with some of my friends about this deck, because one of my friends pointed out that I'm a deck that I don't really use my normal summon too much, so Joker just helps fill that in, so went with Joker, plus he searches, which is really nice, and I've cut some other stuff out. Like, I'm not playing my Ice Pendulum Dragon anymore, because frankly, I really don't need him as much. So, Joker just helps fill in the slots. And he's still a level 4 Dark Spellcaster, which works well with the deck. Next up, I'm still playing 1 Perform Power on Ice Dissolver. Still pretty much my MVP card. Love him so much. He's helped me win so many games. And yeah, I was thinking about pumping Dissolver to 2, but I haven't figured out the space for it yet. And he's really useful because since he's a special summon monster, I can do it pretty much in my battle phase to help push for additional damage and help set up for additional plays later. So, yeah. So many good things about this card. Love him so much. Next up, I'm playing 1 Oath Dragon Magician. I was playing this at 2. However, more recently, I'm finding, generally with this, I want to put him in my scale by using Wisdom Eye Magician, but more frequently I'm finding I'm getting him in my hand, which is okay, but then it kind of renders the Wisdom Eye pointless later. So I cut him back to 1, plus I generally don't want to see him too much, because I don't want to draw into this, and I don't really want to see, I want it to kind of in my deck most of the time, and generally if I want something in my deck, because I'm either going to search it by another means, I will just play 1 of it. Next, still playing 3 Wisdom Eye Magician. Just because it's quick setup, sets up my scales, searches me my Oath Dragon, searches me any of my magicians, which is really good, easily searchable. So yeah, really useful. Not too many reasons why I'm playing this at 3. Next, 2 Double Iris Magician. I cut this back from 3 to 2 because he's easily searchable. He's kind of got the lowest stats of the magicians, so he's not that great, but he is essential for my searching and my Zark play, so just cut him down to 2 because I was seeing him too much. And I can't do his Pendulum effect on if I'm going first, because since you can't conduct since you're not allowed to attack on the first move, his Pendulum effect can't be used. But for some reason the ruling I was confused about this for a while as, can I do it on the first turn? So I took a serious look into it. It's not like that weirdly worded ruling with Soul Charge. It's simply because since you can't attack on the first turn, you can't use Double Iris's Pendulum effect on the first turn. And so that's another reason I cut him back, because I'd rather see the cards that I want as opposed to Double Iris on my first move if I'm going first, because I can't get him off unless I've got Skyres. Next, I'm playing 3 Black Fang Magician. Still keeping this at 3. 3 is the best ratio for him, because he's the magician with he's the magician in level 4 with the best attack points. He's got a really decent pendulum effect for hitting over big monsters by cutting them in half. one of the main reason I'm playing it with 3 is because of his monster effect, because if he's destroyed by a card effect, you can target a dark spellcaster in your grave and special summon it, so really useful if you summon at least one copy of him in a mass pendulum summon, because if you're going to get Solemn Warninged or Solemn Striked, all your monsters hit grave, but Black Fang's effect will go off, and then you could just res something, probably like Black Fang himself. Yeah, so yeah, really good. He's probably definitely a magician you want to play 3 of. Next up, just the one white wing, because I don't really want to see this card in my hand. I literally just summon it off, harmonizing, so I can go into Time Star, because you just want this in your grave quickly for the Zark play. You don't really use it for any other purpose. Like, I think I've used this once as a scale, but that was against a true Draco matchup, which was quite useful, so my stuff couldn't be targeted, which was quite nice. Next up, triple purple poison magician. Next to Black Fang, he's also one of the best ones. Gives my monsters some extra points in battle, which is quite useful for me trying to push the game. And of course, here's another good thing if he gets destroyed off like a Solemn Strike, because then I get to revenge pop something, which is pretty useful. Okay. Next up, 3 Harmonizing Magician. I pumped this one up to 3 after I cranked Double Iris down to 2, because more recently I'm finding I need to see Harmonizing quite a bit more. Yes, there's a decent ways to search it, but this just helps me get it in my hand. I'm finding it quite more useful as my scale 8 now, because it gives my monsters some extra points, because it gives all monsters I control 100 attack and defense for each Magician Pendulum with a different name in my extra deck. Primarily just, so I ideally want one that I can summon to get stuff out from my deck and go into my extra deck plays, but it's also just a really nice scale as well. So really liking it for that, so I pumped it up to 3. That's it for the pendulums I'm playing, and then the last monster in my lineup is just one Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. Because, like I said, I don't really use my normal summons too much, so I thought I'd give the Spellbook engine a try, and so far it's working really well for me, so I'm just going to stick with it for the moment. If I start seeing problems, maybe I might change it. Okay, next, my field spell ratio, still going with the 2 Sky Iris and 1 Terraforming. Because, yeah, this is like the best ratio for it, I feel. Like, my Sky Iris isn't too essential because I only play one Odd Eyes target. It's more useful for the... I'm finding it just more useful because of Cosmic Cyclone being a big thing now that people are maining it, because I don't mind my scales being destroyed of things like MST and Twin Twisters because they go off when they get destroyed, but if they get banished, that's really irritating, so Sky Iris is just really useful for stopping the things like Cosmic Cyclone. It's also really good in the mirror match, because if your opponent's not playing this, you've instantly got the advantage, because with Sky Iris on board, your opponent can't target your scales, which means they can't do a time pendulum graph on it. They can, however, still do the send for it, which is quite irritating, but they still have to make sure that they can not kill something first. It's also good for Ignis to Prominence matchup, because by protecting your scales from being targeted, true, they can still get shuffled away, but your opponent's got to target something else. But like I said, main reason I'm using this, Cosmic Cyclone just got reprinted, everyone's picking it up, it's so good right now, so helps give me an out to that. 1 Pendulum Call. I generally don't... Like, my deck's really quite consistent as it is right now. I'm finding if I have too many of this in my deck, it bricks, and I'm ending up just discarding like a Pendulum Call to activate a Pendulum Call, which isn't that great. But generally, 1 is fine, and it still helps set me up for like the Time Pendulum Graph Send combo, so works well for that. Next in my lineup, I'm maining 3 Cosmic Cyclones, because like I said, this card is so good right now, you kind of have to play it. It's the best out to back row that we've got for the moment, so I'm gonna keep using it while we can. And like I said, useful in like a mirror match or just most generic matchups right now, so still really good like that. Next up, I've got 3 copies of Duelist Alliance, because it's one of my main search cards to help search out a good majority of my deck of the stuff I need to set up. Useful definitely want to see this early game. Mid to late game, it can be a bit of a brick when I've got less targets in my deck, but just want to play 3 of it because I want to see it early and help me set up. Next, I'm playing 2-star Pendulum Graph. I cut this back from 3 to 2 because I was testing around and I found I was seeing it too much, and it's only a once per turn search, so not great. I'd mainly just need 1 for the main search and then 1 as a backup just in case. So just cut it back from that. And next, I'm playing 1 Spellbook of Secrets as part of the Spellbook engine, so it can search me my Spellbook spell card, or it can search me Magician of Prophecy, and then I just go from there. And then just the 1 Spellbook of Knowledge for the main purpose of the Spellbook engine. So yeah, also can work for Time Star if he's run out of materials and I just need to draw behind it, and if I need to do something for my extra check but I can't make a link, so another way for that. Also used for some stuff in my side deck, which I'll get to in a second. And last cards in my main deck, 2-time Pendulum Graph still. Because 3 is too bricky, 1 you'd need like a backup. So 2 is good. This trap's so amazing. Just once per turn Scrap Dragon, which is really nice. And then if you don't kill 2 cards, you get to send something for free without targeting. So basically all the fun of Ignista, but in a trap card. So that's fun. So that's it for the main deck. In my extra deck, I'm playing 1 Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. 1 is for because he's still amazing. He's just so easy for me to make because it requires an Odd Eyes and a Pendulum monster, so I just fuse Dissolver, and Dissolver's got a built-in effect to do fusion summoning, which is really nice. So Dissolver meets the requirements for all my fusions, which is why I play him, with the exception of 1, but that one's pretty obvious, but we'll get to that in a second. So yeah, Vortex is just so good, and really useful if I can summon him early, because then my opponent's got to try and go through a bunch of resources to try and get rid of him, which makes things easier for me later in the game. Okay. And next up, got 1 Perform Pow Gatling Ghoul. Still liking him for main phase 2 players if I can't OTK. Like if I've got enough monsters on board, which normally I can just main 2 Deco Talker and then fusion into Gatling Ghoul and deal a solid enough burn. That will normally give me the win if I haven't dealt enough damage. So yeah, he's just useful for that. 1 Sprinkling Starving Venom. Just an easy contact fusion if I need a big monster or I need to inflict some piercing damage. All I have to do is just target a monster on the field or in the grave, steal its effects, and then all my monsters can inflict piercing damage. Occasionally there might be a decent monster effect in the grave that I want to abuse. I was thinking of if I had been in the position to use this in the True Draco matchup I had recently, I probably would have targeted True Draco in the grave to give myself piercing damage, and since my opponent had Dragonic Diagram on board, yeah, could have gained some extra points, but yeah, just 1 off is fine. 1 Sprinkling Zark, because Zark's broken. If you can summon him, you're generally going to win. Not really much else to say about this guy. He's just the boss monster of the deck. Probably the best Pendulum monster ever created. And yeah, love him. Pretty difficult to summon because of his requirements, even with the Astrograph combo. But still, I don't always summon Zark, but when I do, I normally win. So yeah, that's it for the fusion lineup. Next in the synchro lineup, I'm playing 1 Beals, useful for the True Draco matchup. I decided to put this in after some guys recommended that I try it. Yeah, it's been pretty useful. It's good against decent matchups. Plus, it's a main deck 3k beta that I can use to get over some stuff, because most of my stuff, like the strongest I've probably got in my deck that I can make easily is like probably the Ignista, which Ignista only has got 2850, and Beals just has that little bit of extra. Plus, potentially if Trickstars start becoming a thing, if he's on burn and I start taking a lot of burn damage from Trickstars, Beals is just going to get more powerful, which is pretty nice. Next up, I'm playing 1 Enlightenment Paladin. Haven't really used him too much, but I went off a suggestion that somebody gave me that, yes, I've got a decent amount of spells in my deck that I'd like to recover, like Cosmic Cyclone, which is pretty nice. Or I could recover a Sky Iris that was lost too quickly. But primarily I just like him for the fact that when he kills something in battle, you can burn its attack as damage. Pretty useful if he's already in my graveyard and I've got Supreme King Starving Venom on board, so I could use Starving Venom's effect, target Enlightenment Paladin in my graveyard. My Starving Venom can now burn the attack of the monster that it kills, and because of Starving Venom's own effect, it's going to inflict piercing damage, and that's pretty nice for a lot of damage, so yeah, putting him in for that purpose, but if I don't really see much use to him, I might take him out. But I'm still figuring out what I want to put in first. One Ignista Prominence, because Ignista's amazing. I can pop my Dark Spellcasters and then their effects go off from being popped and I get to spin something away without targeting for free, which is really nice. Yeah, I don't play any Draco Slayers in my deck, so I don't get the secondary effect, but I don't really need it too much. I generally have enough Pendulums on board that I can use this effect anyway. One Supreme King Dragon Clearwing. He's probably one of my favorites of my synchros that I play. Useful if my opponent's got a big board, because I don't play Raigeki in my build, because I don't really see the point when I've got so many outs to effects, so it's pretty useful. So on summon, Clearwing can just nuke my opponent's board, and then I can just smash for a huge amount of direct damage. Or if my opponent's got a big monster on, or if my opponent's got a bigger monster on board that wasn't special summoned, I can go Clearwing attack, effect, also kill it and burn its attack as damage, because burning is fun, because, you know, burn's fun. That's it for the Synchro lineup. Next, in the Xyz lineup, I'm playing one Abyss Dweller, just useful for certain matchups like True Draco, Dinosaurs. Recently at my locals, I've been noticing Dinosaurs seem to be cutting out a bit, but still, I'm just keeping the Abyss Dweller in because I've got the space in my extra deck, so I thought I'd slot him in, and he's just useful for quite a few matchups. One Supreme King Dragon Dark Rebellion, just for beating over monsters, inflicting a lot of damage. So, just helps push for game. Pretty useful. 2-time Star Magician, still playing this at 2 because it's useful for setting up. Just one main for it, and then one backup, just in case I want to do some more searching a bit later. If I find I might want to try some other stuff, I might take one out, but for the moment I think 2 is the right ratio. Plus, of course, there's still that True King Lithosagem, which I really don't like, so... And I normally always want one of these around, so... So, keeping it at 2 as long as Lithosagem's still relevant in the meta of my locals. Next up, I'm playing one Tornado Dragon, just as an additional way to pop back row, for example. And also useful, like, in my own turns, like... Say I'm in my battle phase, and I've got a Tornado Dragon, and I've got a Black Fang in my scale, and a Time Star in my graveyard, and so I've done all my attacks, but I'm like, I need a little bit more damage, so I can just be like, Effective Tornado, detach, pop my own scale, pop my Black Fang. Black Fang's effect goes off to red something, and then if I've got Astrograph in my hand, I can special summon Astrograph as well, and then that's additional damage on board. So, Tornado Dragon serves a double purpose, that it can pop my own stuff to help me set up at a time I need it, or I can just get rid of opponent's problematic cards. And then Link monsters I'm playing one Deco Talker, just as my main way to help extend my main monster to help extend my plays. He's probably just the most generic Link that we've got so far, like I said. Until we get a more generic Link that will work with this deck, Deco Talker's the best I can do, so... And then the last monster in my deck, this is a new addition that I slotted in case Link spamming decks start becoming a thing. I'm playing one Topologic Bomber Dragon in my build. It's a bit more difficult to summon because it's a Link 4, so I'd have to have 4 monsters on board. But it's got 3 Link markers pointing down, which is okay. Or at least it would be okay if it wasn't for Topologic's effect. For those of you that don't know, Topologic nukes destroys all monsters in the main monster zone if a monster is summoned to a Link marker. But that's the thing I like about it. It just says, if a monster is special summoned to a zone a Link monster points to. So it doesn't necessarily have to be its own. So useful if your opponent's got a Link, you can just summon something to theirs, Topologic's effect goes off, nuke all monsters in the main monster zone. Useful if your opponent's got their own Deco Talker in their scale and it's currently being powered up a bit. So... You can drop Topologic against their decode, special summon something to a link zone effect, nuke everything in the main monster zone, decode Talker loses its tributes to negate a target effect, and also loses all those bonus attack points it got. Also really useful in my case for the magicians I'm running that go off upon destruction. Particularly very useful if I spam, say, multiple copies of Purple Poison Magician. So I drop Topologic, Pendulum summon 3 copies of my Purple Poison Magician, effective Topologic, nuke everything in the main monster zone. And then I get 3 potential pops off the Purple Poison Magician, so I can take out the thing they've got in their extra monster zone. Pop some face-up spell trap cards. Like, I know that Topologic does stop you from attacking from other stuff, but you've just nuked a solid chunk, and if I pop Purple Poison within Topologic's effect, it doesn't really matter too much because generally I will nuke their board and then I can just smash directly for 3k, which is really nice. And so that's why I'm playing it. And I would go over my side deck, but my side deck hasn't changed much since the last time I did locals, but I think I'll just quickly go over it with you guys anyway. So for the side deck I used in my recent events of what I play, I'm playing 3 Jalgun Spiritualist, because he's like a really good anti-special summoning god. Jalgun is amazing. Like, he's a spellcaster as well, so Time Pentagraph, Star Pentagraph would prevent him being targeted by spell and trap effects. And he's level 3, so he's within my Pendulum summoning range. He's also a spellcaster, so say I could just normal summon Jalgun, use Jalgun's effect to ditch a random card from my hand to nuke my opponent's special summon monster board. If I've then got Spellbook of Knowledge in my hands, if I've still got access to my Spellbook of Knowledge, I can do Spellbook of Knowledge, tribute Jalgun, draw 2 cards. I'm now free to special summon for the rest of my turn. I can do my special summon and attack. So yeah, I'm really liking Jalgun as a side card. Honestly, the only thing stopping me from main decking Jalgun is the fact that he's light attribute. Like, if Jalgun was dark attribute, I would main deck this, because then I could search it off Time Star. I could res it from the graveyard with Black Fang. Why isn't Jalgun dark? Oh well, it's fine. Next in my side deck lineup, 3DD Crow. I'm finding this a bit iffy under the current format, but more recently, quite a few people at my locals are picking up Dark Lords, so... And all of the Dark Lord res effects target, so... Pretty useful if they've got Superbia and Grave. They target Superbia for a res effect. I'm just like, DD Crow the Superbia. They fizzle out, and just pretty nice. Useful against... Kind of useful against a few other matchups, but... It's currently just the best option I've got for the moment. If maybe the format changes a bit more, maybe I might change it. But, yeah. Next, 3 Ghost Ogres, because still just like a really good side card, which is pretty good. Just stops a bunch of face-up cards. Stops all those amazing field spells that we've got out right now. Not really much else to say about Ghost Ogres, just a really decent generic side, which is why I'm using it. And then the last stuff in my lineup is just True Draco based, or just the 6-card Kaiju engine of 2 Kaiju Slumber, 1 Jizkuro, 1 Thunder King, 1 Gardala, and 1 Gamma Seal. So, yeah, just generic Kaiju engine for generic matchups if I need it. I might alter this slightly because I don't like siding too heavily, but since most of my cards I play multiples of, it's not a big deal, but I'll have a think about it as the format progresses. So yeah, that's the updated deck profile for the upcoming format that we're going into. So quite a few changes since the last time I've played it, but as you know, you got to change with the format, and I'm always up for trying new ideas with my deck. So yeah, hope you guys liked it. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment your own comments of anything you think I should try, and I'm always up for hearing from you guys. Thank you so much. Like, comment, and I'll speak to you soon. I'll be up with another deck profile soon, but I'm just waiting on one more card to show up before I do it. But when it's up, I will let you guys see my new Cyberdark build. Okay, thanks guys, bye.